Starks Media.
Thank you for tuning in again for Starks Media Podcast. Today's guest is Miranda Mounds. She is the owner and the face behind Where to Eat Charlotte. So let's get straight into it. What was the motivation behind starting Where to Eat Charlotte?
The motivation was in Wilmington. I was always asked, that's where I used to live, on the coast, about 3 hours from here. I always used to get asked where to eat in Wilmington because I was everyone's kind of go-to guide because I was working for a seafood company at the time. So I thought that, I was like, you know what? I get on Yelp and I see these restaurants on there that I've been in the kitchens and I've been in the back doors and I wouldn't recommend them for certain things. So Yelp wasn't reliable to me. So that's why I was like, when I moved to Charlotte, I want to start a Where to Eat Charlotte because everyone used to ask me like, hey, where do I eat in Wilmington? And I knew I was moving to Charlotte, so it was a little late to start that in Wilmington. So I was like, I'm going to start it in Charlotte and just see what happens. In
that case, like, what was your motivation behind food then? Like, what are you just like? You're like, hey, I'm a foodie.
Yeah, I am a foodie. Well, I grew up on fast food. End of story. I used to eat Arby's, Subway. It was always going from practice to practice. My parents didn't cook. A lot of people say, oh, did you come from like this family background where your parents used to cook?
So you're in sports?
Yeah, I was in sports. I played volleyball and I played volleyball in college too. So that's always funny for people to hear is like, I didn't grow up with these elaborate meals. When I stopped playing volleyball after my second year at school, I went into serving because my parents cut me off and they were like, hey, you got to pay your own bills. And I was like, all right, here we go. What's the best way to do that? So I started serving at Kickback Jack's. That was my first serving spot. And then I started serving at K38, which is the most popular restaurant in Wilmington, essentially. And I was just thrown into the pits with serving and basically learning everything about food. So I gained my knowledge from those 2 years of serving in probably like 6 or 7 different restaurants, all in Wilmington. I loved dining out. It was my favorite thing. I worked really hard in the gym. And then I was always looking forward to these meals out with my ex. We would go out to eat probably 4 to 5 days a week. I'm not kidding, it was a lot.
Really?
Yeah, we went out a lot. And we would travel a lot too. So when we would travel, I would always plan around food. I'm sure a lot of people do that, which is so fun. Like, hey, where are we gonna eat? So I planned around food. And then he's like, hey, it's clear that you love food. You plan these vacations around food. Why don't you start working with my dad for Inland Seafood? As an inside sales rep. So he covered the Myrtle Beach area, so I was covering the Wilmington area. So I would just call up chefs every day and be like, hey chef, like what seafood do you need? And they're based out of Charlotte. So I used to travel back and forth to Charlotte to train in the fish house, because I didn't really know that much about food as far as like, I was like, mahi? Like what's a mahi look like? I don't know how much like filet is for mahi. So I had to learn all of that. Oysters, we sold beef, we sold crab, lobster, caviar, cheese. All of those things. So I really dove in then. Really? So when I was traveling to Charlotte, I would dine in the restaurants when I was there visiting. So I already had a little bit of a knowledge of like the Charlotte restaurants.
So you got to learn about the back end stuff too.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's different. It's a whole new world.
So did it start as a hobby? Did you ever like think it was going to turn into the platform you have now?
No, literally. No, I didn't know what it was.
So were you proactive on getting like your first client, or did like a restaurant reach out and be like, hey, we're going to pay you to do this?
Well, first, I didn't even think I was gonna get free food. I was like, free food is like the coolest thing ever. I remember like a restaurant had sent out a meal, or they saw me and they recognized me and they sent out a free meal, and I was like, oh my God. Or they're like, hey, I know you're doing a post for us. I'm gonna comp the meal for you. I'm like, I'm doing this, like not only am I like posting about this, I'm doing it in exchange for food. That was everything. But when I started doing it more consistently and putting out content more consistently, restaurants would reach out and be like, hey, can you come into our restaurant? And then I remember being like, I'm gonna see if I can charge them, because I'm getting reached out to more frequently. So I charged them like $150, and I went in and like did the whole thing. And I remember it was like cash. It's like, hey, pay me cash. It all started as like cash,
yeah.
Venmo, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
Evolve, keep going. And then I ended up sending all of my stats and analytics. I was like, ooh, let's get into some numbers. Like I have 3,000 followers. I reach this many people, and I would send them to restaurants. And then they'd be like, hey, I don't even know what you're doing. Like, we don't have a budget for this, whatever. Mm-hmm. So I would just keep doing that. I would reach out to the restaurants until they'd be like, yeah, let's do it. $150, let's go. So then it evolved from there. Nice. It was a big moment that I remember when I got paid like a big check. Not like a big check, but it was a check. To me, it felt really big, right. Of a package of posts. And I remember I was like, because I was starting to sell them in packages instead of just doing one. Yeah. I'd sell them in like 4s or 6s. It made more sense. And then I just remember getting that check and I was like, I should have framed it.
Oh well, it's a small little victories.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. So now you're an influencer, I guess you would call yourself.
Yeah, I would call myself more of an influencer.
Do you call yourself an influencer? Because I know like some influencers are like, I hate that. They're just like, I just do my thing.
I don't hate it. I used to say that, I hate the word influencer. But I kind of have taken it on because I'm doing a little bit of outside of food right now. And I truly am influencing people to do something. I think it's really cool. I think it's a trust thing. So I like the word. I think it works. I don't know what follower count you have to hit to be considered an influencer, right. But I don't think it's based off of numbers. For me, it's based off of people actually making action when I post things, and they do. They make really massive action, and it's really cool because the businesses tell me. So that's how I consider myself an influencer.
So let's get into some of the stress of it a little bit.
No stress, never stress.
But when you're growing your account, you're always gonna have people that you're either jealous and you call them haters or whatever. How'd you deal with probably people putting negative comments on or sending you weird DMs? How do you deal with that?
The page has evolved. The page has grown and I have grown. So that's been really cool. I didn't know this was gonna be a thing along the way. So I was just kind of no filter. And like I said, I've grown. So I was getting a lot of hate at one point, but I've learned from it. And like I said, I've grown up. So dealing with that was really hard because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what this game was. I didn't know what I didn't know the influence I had. I didn't know how many eyes were on me. I was just living through this blog, thinking that I'm a food critic or whatever. Not the situation, I'm not a food critic. But it was hard. I remember feeling really alone for a little bit when I was getting a lot of hate on Twitter, and a lot of hate from just a lot of Charlotte, people that have been here for a while, and that because I'm doing something different and I didn't know what I was doing. So as time went on, I had to shape and mold who I was and just be more aware and listen instead of thinking that I know everything because I didn't know anything. So it was hard, but I've come a long way with it, and now I don't really get any negativity, which is really, really amazing because I think that when you put out positivity, you get positivity back. And at some times I was putting out negativity. I didn't like this dish. It had too much of this, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I'm not a food critic. Yeah. So now that I put out positivity and only highlight people that I want to and the businesses that I want to, it's been a game changer for me and my followers.
So you don't work with everybody?
Yeah, so I just did a question box yesterday, actually. And I had that question, hey, how do you get paid? Or do you post about every brand? I get reached out to by brands now, which has been really interesting. Food product brands. And you want to say yes, because it's it's money. But I have to stay authentic and true to things I'm actually using. I will not post about a service or a product or something that I don't use, end of story. And if I do, I'm going in to sample the service, or I'm going in to try the food. So that's step one. A restaurant reaches out. I'm like, hey, I've never been there. A lot of times I have, so I know right off if it's gonna work or not. But if I haven't been there, then I set up a time to go in, meet the owner, try the food. That's when I'm actually eating the food. People don't see that. I'm not in there hey, what's up, I'm eating the food. If it goes well, if the food's good, then they're like, hey, we wanna buy a package of posts. Then that's when I go in for the shoots. And a shoot is when I'm literally going in and capturing content. I don't eat the food, or I'll take a bite of it, but I usually give it back to the staff or do something with it because I'm not gonna sit there and eat all of the food. So I think people get really they wanna know, is she dining in these photos? Is she eating the food? What's really going on? I think that's a big question I get because like I said, who else is really doing this besides other influencers and other cities? So that's been interesting to share the whole what it is.
Yeah, so you're always taking these pictures and you have this smorgasbord of just food all over you.
Spreads.
And I'm sometimes like that, I'm okay, she has to be working out because that's 10,000 calories just sitting in front of you.
Yeah.
So you're not eating everything there. Maybe just one bite you said from each plate?
If I haven't had a dish and chef's hey, or you gotta try this dish, I'll try it. I'll take a bite, but sometimes I'll have 3 of those shoots a day. And I'm not gonna sit there, I went to New York Butcher and he sent out some big hunks, you guys probably saw it, of brisket and ribs and chicken and stuff like that. That was stuff that was gonna be sold to customers and I was kind of using it. It depends. Like usually the food's given to me, I'll literally be like, hey staff, like you guys can have it. I know you guys are hungry. So it'll be a spread. But like I said, I'm just getting pictures of it. By the time I take the pictures, it's cold. And I've typically already had all the dishes, or I've had the main, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we highlight the most popular dishes and I've typically already had them. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So do you have like a photographer behind the scenes, or do you just like, here's my phone and somebody just, hopefully they composition it well and they get these good photos?
So I was teetering back and forth between using a professional photographer and doing it myself. Sometimes I need a photographer. Sometimes I'm like, this is a brand, it's wine water. I really want to capture the branding of the wine water. Let's use a photographer. But most of the time, I will say, I think people like the real feel of the iPhone. I use a tripod and I do it myself. So I know that what angles work for me. I know lighting pretty well just from doing this for so long with an iPhone. I don't know how to really use a camera. I feel like I could, but I don't have one. So I use an iPhone, and typically I do it by myself. Most of the time the shoots are just me.
Do you ever feel awkward, like setting up a tripod, people are around, and you're just like, you do your branding where the smile and your mouth is a little open?
Yeah, that's my signature.
Exactly.
Holding like two things like this with the food in front, yeah, it's like my signature thing. No, I really don't ever feel awkward. A lot of people, that's their biggest fear, is like being seen or feeling awkward. To me, I'm doing something different. And yeah, people are gonna stare, of course. I'm holding a freaking thing of brisket. I would stare. I'd be like, what's she doing? People would be like, what is she? You're so entertaining. Like I went to Davidson Wine Bar and there was like 4 tables and I'm like doing my thing over here and they're all watching because they want to be entertained.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, like this is wild, right? Like this is fun. So for me, it's fun. And I know that at the beginning it was hard because no one understood what I was doing, but now people understand and I'm promoting businesses and making impact on businesses. So for me to like sit there and get embarrassed, doesn't make sense for me.
Probably a good way to almost brand yourself. You're like, hey, just follow me on Where to Eat Charlotte.
Oh, literally.
And they're like, oh yeah, I'll definitely check it out.
That's all I do is literally shout it from the mountaintops. I'm like, yeah, where to eat? Like, you're gonna see this picture up tomorrow. So, and the post did really well. So I was really excited. It's like me holding a cheese board. And then I literally gave the cheese board. I'm not gonna sit there and go in on a full cheese board by myself. So I literally gave it to them and they took it home. Oh. And they got to enjoy it. Yeah, so that's kind of like the things that work. I'll be like, hey, do you guys want some of this? So yeah, and I always tip, and I want people to know that too, that when I go in a, like, I have a server still, and they're usually bringing out a spread, or like the owner will, you know, kind of bring out food. But if a server is involved, I always tip and do a penny tab on what the food would cost or how much they, like, the service. So I think that's a stigma that influencers get too, like, hey, they don't tip, they want everything for free. That's not how it goes.
Well,
yeah.
I think a lot of influencers are that way.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, well, I think the serving background really, really helps.
Yeah, so obviously you are eating some of this food.
For sure, yeah, I dine out all the time. People see that, I dine out all the time.
So let's get into that. Do you work out? Like you have to, because obviously you would be 200 pounds if you just...
Yeah, I do work out. I go to Hive, but I'm gonna be transparent. I used to work out a lot back in the day. I don't work out as much as I used to. Everyone's laughing because I'm like just getting back into Hive. I've been traveling a lot. I'm really focused on just getting in movement. So every day I try to get in some movement. I know it sounds silly, but walking is like super powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm just really aware of my body just from like coming from a really like heavy gym background. I used to track macros, so I'm aware of calories in, calories out. I love eating healthy. It's my favorite thing in the world. Like I don't even crave like really like bad food, and I'm around food all the time that it's like food is so beautiful and so great, but like imagine being around some of the best dishes. Super grateful all the time. It's like I don't feel the need to indulge because it's at my fingertips at all times. Back when I was a fitness junkie, when I would say, no, I can't even have a latte. I can't even eat a brownie. Nope. When you say no over and over in your head, your brain says, oh, I can't have these things. I want them more. So now that I don't tell myself no, I had a brownie yesterday. I went to Green Brothers. I got a smoothie. Normally I would never get like, back in the day, never get one of those brownies. Got a brownie. I sat there and I was like, this is gonna be so good. And I ate it and it's what I wanted. So I think that has really helped me in my mindset with food, is that I am around it all the time. So that's been kind of wild. But yeah, I work out. I go to Hive. I do a lot of incline walking and then I do lifting on my own. And I'll hop in a class every once in a while, but.
Yeah, those classes are pretty good.
They're really hard. I've been a little like, ugh, don't wanna like, because I've been out of the gym for a minute. I'm like, they're hard.
Yeah.
Like, I've never gotten sick from a class before, and I got sick one time. Granted, I was coming back from Napa. It was the day after, so I think that's why.
Little hungover.
Yeah, just a lot of wine.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, but yeah, those classes are really intense. Hive's awesome.
I like doing the full body stuff. It's better on the joints and
For
all that.
sure.
So, do you eat breakfast?
It depends. I read my body. I don't keep a lot of food at my house because I am dining out a lot. I literally keep veggies. I'm so weird. For breakfast, I'll get up and literally air fry veggies. I just love it. Like when I say, like, oh, she just eats veggies, I freaking love it. I'm a volume eater. I like eating a big portion of things. So I'll air fry veggies, throw some egg whites on it, avocado, sriracha, seasoning. So sometimes I eat breakfast, sometimes I don't. I haven't eaten yet. Probably why I have so much energy, which to reverse, like when you're fasting, you have more energy. People know that, but.
Air fryer. You 30 yet?
The air fryer is life. I remember my followers, I didn't have an air fryer, and I was like, hey, like, my followers kept mentioning an air fryer, and I was like, oh, all right, I'm gonna see what this is about.
Life changer.
Pretty much.
Since you're influencer now.
Yeah, that's my title.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of your title.
That's my title.
How is dating like then? Do you like go on dates? Do you like people reach out to you? I mean, obviously, what do you have? A little over 40,000 followers.
Yeah, it's growing. It's growing
Majority
real
is
fast.
probably in Charlotte.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, very centered.
So you
in
probably go
Charlotte.
out all the time and people notice you. So
a lot.
How does that scene work out for you?
It's funny. Like I said, I just put up a question box, and it was a lot of these questions that you're asking. So people are very curious about these things. I haven't been in a relationship since I moved to Charlotte in 2018, and I really haven't been on that many dates. I don't know. I just feel like I'm like super locked in right now. Like guys will come up to me and be like, "Oh, you're the Where to Eat Charlotte girl." Like it's more not like a, "Hey, do you want to like hang out?" Or like they're not hitting on me. It's more like, "Hey, I really appreciate your page. My wife uses it all the time. Our family loves your page." I don't get a lot of guys walking up to me that are like single and they're like, "Hey, like let's go to dinner." I don't know if they're intimidated. I really don't, but like people think that I get that all the time. I don't. I really don't. I'll get the DM slides for sure. Like, "Hey, put myself out there. Would you like to go grab dinner?" I don't really do dinner. Like I would, but dinner is number one. Can you imagine? Like I'm doing dinners all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's like, I don't even want to go to dinner with someone because I'll literally be like talking to Jamie at Barcelona the whole time.
Right. Yeah, somebody
yeah, exactly.
Somebody that goes to restaurants all the
Right.
time. Like, I think you would actually, if I was approaching you, I would be
Right.
like, "Hey, let's go on a hike or something instead."
Thank you. Yes.
You have
That's
to.
what I want.
You
Some
have
activities.
to. I'm like, you can't take somebody that's an expert in their field and be like, "Hey, let's go get a steak."
I don't want, like, food is beautiful and it's great, but like, exactly. We go to Barcelona Wine Bar. Jamie, the manager's there. I'm gonna be chatting her ear off. We're gonna be chatting.
Yeah.
It's gonna interrupt the date. I know the servers. I know a lot of people in like the restaurant industry who are working. So I don't want that to take away. So typically I do coffee. I'll be like, "Hey, let's get coffee." Because also dinner is a time investment. Some people really look forward to dates and dinners, but you know, with what I do, I'm like, that's such like that could be like a 3-hour time investment.
Yeah.
And I'm like really trying to be adamant about where I spend my time. Because usually I'm like, yes, like, "Yes, girl, let's do this, yes. And it's like, I give a lot of energy and I want that energy back. So I'll feel drained if I go into situations where I'm giving all this energy and I'm not getting the energy back. It sounds kind of cutthroat, but I truly just believe in mutual value and like good energy exchange. So coffee like works for me with dating, but I don't do it often.
I mean, that totally makes sense.
Yeah,
So-
my friends say it's because I'm picky, but whatever. Picky, that's bullshit. I'm literally have high standards, but I'm not gonna ask anything that I'm not willing to bring myself. So that's like my thing.
Okay,
So,
that's fair. I mean,
seems fair.
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't date until you're 30.
Right, exactly. There you go. I'm just busy. Like I'm trying to like do this thing. Like there's this thing that I have and I want to bring it to the world. And I know I'm a very all-in person. I love relationships. It's like, I really enjoy them. I love being a partner. I love supporting. So I know if somebody comes in, like it's gonna be quite the distraction. So I'm like, I think this is happening for a reason. I think no one's coming in for a reason.
Yeah.
So I can stop messing around and do this.
Focus on you.
Right.
Nice.
Not me.
Well,
Focus on the business, essentially.
on your brand, your
yeah,
business.
for sure.
So let's do a couple rapid questions.
Okay.
First date location, where would you recommend?
Ooh, that's a good one. Honestly, Barcelona Wine Bar, because I'm very adamant about bar space. It's one of the only, not one of the only, but one of the only bars in Charlotte that has a bar where you can see everything. And I know you should be like locked in on your date, but first date, I want to be in a buzzing atmosphere. Barcelona's buzzing. It's always buzzing. It's always a good vibe. That's what I want on a first date. So I say Barcelona and in small plates so you can kind of pick and choose.
Okay. Where would you get wine?
If I were to get wine one place.
Yeah,
like
you only have one glass.
Oh man, that's such a good question. Am I on a date or am I just going for a glass
Just
of wine?
going for a glass. Say a girl just like had a long week. It's a Thursday. She's like, I just need one glass of wine. Where did she go?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I would say, I think Dilworth Tasting Room does a really phenomenal job. Or I love Italian wine, so I'd go to Indaco and sit at the bar. They have a good Italian wine list. I love Italian wines. And they're like cool about like tastings and samples and stuff.
All right. Ice cream after dinner.
Ice cream after dinner. Well, I don't know if this counts as ice cream, but Paletas Morelia, it's a place I've been highlighting. It's new, it's behind Stir. It's like ice cream, but it's like a popsicle essentially. Fantastic, the ingredients are like 10 out of 10. You like build your own little popsicle ice cream thing. Some of the best like dessert I've ever had. If we're doing ice cream, I'd say like 2 scoops. Jenny's is good, but I mean, support local, so 2 scoops.
Favorite new restaurant has opened up probably within the last 2 months.
Well, I just mentioned it. I'd say Supperlin, doing a really good job. And Jamie is a boss babe. She's the owner and it's like her baby. And I got to chat with her and I like really look up to her. I think she like super empowering. Just like creating that. It's cool. Supperlin.
Where do you meet people? Because there's always people moving here to Charlotte.
That's been hard for me to tackle because I'm out and about all the time. So I don't do a 9 to 5 from my computer. So it's a little hard because like I said, I'm out and about and I'm very social outgoing. I would say a gym community, I would start there. Hive, like there's other gyms that are as community driven as Hive, but it's just set up for like talking and not like talking a ton, but just being like, hey, what's up? Like right before the group training in the middle, just being like, hey, what's up? You know, you've been there. Yeah. Or sitting at the smoothie bar. I've met more people at Hive just even saying, hey, like not getting a beer after or anything, just being like, hey, like I'm aware of you, you work hard, I have a respect for you. Because we both have mutual like interests. You love working out, I like working out. I've met a lot of people at the gym and I typically don't meet a lot of people at the gym because I'm like very head down. Yeah. So it's a really great space for that. I would say find a gym where you really like the community and culture.
Do you have headphones in? Are you one of those?
Yeah, I have headphones in, but I was doing the group classes and now I'm lifting on my own. I missed it, but yeah, I'm not like a go tap someone while they're lifting kind of person as much as I want to sometimes. There's a guy in there and I'm like, what do I do?
Shoot my shot.
Yeah. I've written notes before, I swear.
What?
At the Dowd, I'll never forget, I wrote a note. I said, hey, my name's Miranda. Don't want to interrupt your workout. If you want to grab coffee or drink sometime, hit me up. Literally handed it to him as I walked out, gave intense eye contact, and then dipped.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like,
people will never do that.
My mom's like, Miranda, you're too much. Like, you're scary. I'm like, love that.
All right, so who do you want to inspire? Either through just you as Miranda or through Where to Eat Charlotte. Is there any specific?
Like I said, I'm changing so much. Just like the past 2 years, I'm just changing as a person. I used to be like me. And now I feel like the more that you focus on providing value and the more that you like get out of this me mindset instead of what can I give and not expect anything in return, I feel like that's when you really like see things come together and opportunities come together. So I just really want to keep focusing on, hey, what do my followers want and bring that to them. I want to inspire people to, number one, get out of their comfort zone and just do something. And I didn't know what I was doing. And I think you meet a lot of entrepreneurs who have it together. I just came back from an event last weekend. All of them super successful. All of them said the same thing. I didn't know what I was doing. And I want to implant that in people's heads and think, oh, she just like had it all together. Her story was so perfect, it aligned perfectly, and that's the journey of Where to Eat Charlotte. So beautiful. Nah, dog. No, it was not like that. It was a mess, a hot mess. You can ask anyone. So I think I want to inspire my followers. We're literally only here one time, like not to get all cheesy. We're here like once. So like, do what you love doing. Even if you're not trying to turn it into your full time, like do it every day. Mm-hmm. Like that's what it's about. And then give others in the process. Like the more that I realize that I give to people, the more I feel like I get back. And my parents like are very good about that. I'm more like, well, I don't want to, me. Right. The more you're centered on me, the more the universe isn't going to give to you. That's true.
Yeah, the coolest thing I think I did that opened me up, we had like this project to do in high school, and I volunteered at this old folks home, and I did it for like a month, but all the stories they would tell, and all the old people, doesn't matter men or women, they were just like, young man, just do what you love. Like, I wish I did all this, wish.
Yeah.
And I did that throughout the rest of the year because I just like sitting down, listening to all the stories.
How much value did you get from that?
It was great. It was fantastic. I bet. And the story, it's like almost a lost art because, these older people, even when I was young, I was like 15, 16, they were like in their 80s. And it was just like, it's almost an art how to tell a story so well. You could just like almost feel like you're in that room with them when they're telling these certain stories. So I almost feel like I picked up on some of that. Because I feel like I almost am a good storyteller sometimes, not all the time, but
it's a skill.
It is a skill for sure.
It's a skill for sure.
But
that's really cool.
But going back to what you said, you just do it. Like, who cares? Even if it scares the shit out of you.
It's scary. It's uncomfortable. Yeah. And being uncomfortable it's uncomfortable. Yeah. Like it is. I get it.
But then you can look back, and then it's like, why was I so scared then?
And then you just like once you just keep getting past that little barrier and just push a little more every day. I know it sounds. Like I said, some of these lines sound cheesy, but they're so true. Like going to that event over the weekend and talking in front of 70 women, I've never done that. I was scared for a minute. I was like, shit. Like I was up there and I was like, you have two decisions. One, you can get nervous and clam up, or two, take control. It's like mental mindset. You have to it's mental. And pushing past and getting just a little uncomfortable every day really does add up. Like Atomic Habits is one of my favorite books. The little things, they really do compound. Consistent little tiny things.
Yeah, it's a good book.
It is a good book.
I don't want to say it's like groundbreaking. I think Atomic Habits is like the things that you already know. It's just like almost a really good reminder.
It is, but habits are like literally, that's why I'm a habit nerd, because habits are who we are. Yeah. They're what shape us. So like, it's so important to me. Habits are like, oh, they're just habits. Nah, like your morning routine, your habits, that's who you are. The things you do every day, the way you talk to people, that's your personality, and that's built off of habits. And you can change it too. That's like the cool part about the whole thing. Like just because I was somebody 2 years ago in Charlotte who I'm not proud of, I really look back and I'm like, dang, like she was selfish, she was always late, working on that. But you don't have to be that anymore. You can change. Right. So it's just, it's adding up the little tallies, I think, to become the person that you want to be. I love that line in there.
You have to want it though.
Yeah.
You have to want it first.
Yeah, I don't know if that's like a gene, like some people have or some people don't. Like, I don't know, because those girls at the event, and I know I keep bringing it up, but they have something in them that says, I'm not cool with just being this version of me, or I'm not cool with being here. It truly is, and we're kind of getting off food a little bit, but it's not for me. And I can say this honestly, I don't look at anyone else's stuff and I'm like, that should be me. That needs to be me. I really don't compare. I'm super grateful. I'll get wrapped up for like 5 minutes in it because it's a big compare game out there. But I compare myself to me. Like that's the only person that I compare myself to, because to me, that's the only person that matters. I'm in my own lane, and I think we get caught up in like really looking at other people's lives. So hard not to. But like, look at the celebrities out there. They say it all the time. The people on Instagram, the people in the light, it's not what you think. The relationships on Instagram, it's not what you think. Right. Like not all the time, but everyone struggles with something. You don't see what they're going through because they are putting out their best. Yeah. So compare yourself to you. Stop comparing yourself to your Explore page, because that thing is like beautiful, but like I get wrapped up. I'm like, dang, does everyone's house look like this? Does everyone have this? Like is everyone dating this hot man? Is everyone like this tiny? Like I'm just confused. Yeah. It's truly like what? Is this real? So I get wrapped up in it for like 5 minutes. I'm like, nah, that doesn't serve me. I'm out. So being aware.
So let's go back. You're talking about being scared. And let me see if this scared you.
Okay.
So when Instagram, Facebook, and all that
you would
shut down.
You would bring that up.
How'd that, like, did it like mold you? Like, holy crap, do I have to do other things?
So for a minute, I was like, you know what? At first I was like, dang, if this shuts down, like, what? It was scary because I'm not on other platforms right now. I'm not on TikTok. I kind of quit with that. I was starting YouTube, but I was like, it's like analysis by paralysis. Like I want to be out there and doing these things, but I'm like, which one do I put my eggs in? I'm actually manifesting, I am manifesting a mentor in my life. Not saying I need someone to come and save me, or I need somebody that can tell me what move to make. I don't want to make 50,000 moves and then backpedal. I really don't. I want to make the move. I'm not scared, but I want to make the right move. So yeah, it was scary because I was like, dang, I haven't made the move to be on YouTube. I don't have that following there. If my Instagram following is gone, I have no following besides Miranda. But how, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was scary, but I was like, I know that I am value and that I'll make money no matter what because I believe in myself. Because I do the work, not because I'm some special freaking person. I get up and read and try to gain this knowledge. It's work. And I think people think that, they're like, oh, you just are, you have this thing. It's like, no, you do the work. You see people into self-development. They read, they want to be better about something. They journal, they reflect. It takes more time. But yeah, I knew I'd be okay because I'm like, you figure it out. You always figure it out. You can go back to serving. You can do whatever. But it was definitely a wake-up call. It's time to get on those platforms, and the time is now. Because it's time.
So let's ask you last question.
Yeah.
What does the future look like for you, and where to eat Charlotte? Where do you want to go? Where's it taking you?
This has been one of the hardest questions because at first I was like, I'm gonna be so funny, solopreneur, where it's just gonna be me because I do everything and I only like the way I do it. You know how that goes. Don't want to hire because no one can do it like me. Bullshit. A girl was talking about this over the weekend. You're not that special. I'm not that special. So this whole solopreneur thing, that's just limited mindset. So what I'm thinking, and it's changed, and I've said this 1,000 times on my platform because it's truly I had this moment a couple months ago where I was like, this is my purpose here. My purpose is to have a platform and to have this personality that I have, that I connect with people, to showcase businesses and people that do a good job at their craft and who are bringing their gifts to the world. So you, for instance, you do videography, you do this, these are the gifts that you bring to the world. You may not really want to be on social, or you're like, hey, this is what I'm good at, but I don't know how to project that out there. I don't know how to spread the word. You're just good at your craft, and you're like, I love my craft. I love that you love your craft, and I want to bring your gifts to the world on my platform, and I want to have the voice to showcase what you do, because that's cool. Because not only, I'm like the middleman, I'm like hey, you guys need something. I am the one who's gonna spread the word, nail it from the mountaintops, and then you have this service or business that's bringing these amazing things, which could be bread, which could be cupcakes, which could be videos, facials, whatever. I see people who love what they do, and I wanna be the person that brings that to the world. So what does that look like? I wanna expand, and I want it to be essentially a Charlotte brand that people rely on and they trust to get the best of Charlotte or the best of North Carolina or whatever it may be. I want to highlight more businesses. So instead of, hey, I go to one hair lady, she's great. Yeah, she is great, but let's tap into more hair ladies who are really good. Or let's tap into more, people that do massages. The only reason I was sharing those things is because people were asking, and I'm like, yeah, that's where I get my hair done. She's fantastic. Then it turned into this this thing of people asking me recommendations. You're an influencer now. Yeah. So I'm like, dang, food's important, and that's my whole bulk of my brand. But I want to showcase people that do a good job of their craft.
Nice.
So hopefully, email. We need an email subscription. We need a YouTube. People are very visual. People like visuals. I've noticed that. I make these cool lists, which are helpful. People want to see things. They want to see things. They want to hear. So that's why Reels are really powerful right now. So yeah, that's what I want to do.
Okay, I know I said that was your last question.
That's okay.
But one more
Clearly, I love talking.
So if you had to start over again, is there anything you would do different?
No. Nope.
Just ride the course as it was?
Ride the course. Yeah, you just got to ride the course. Looking back, I'm like, oh, what if I would have done this in this relationship? Or what if I would have done this in this situation? I think about it all the time. What if I would have not been stupid and texted this guy on my birthday? Whatever. it doesn't matter because it's in the past. I don't live in the past. The past is not me. I'm here, I'm present. There's only 2 options now. You learn from the past, you move forward, it's gone. You're here, this is me today, and then there's the future me. That's it. So that past shaped me for here. So no, I don't look back. I mean, I look back on the past and I'm thankful for it. I learn from it. Like that's all you can do. You can't like live in the past. That's romanticizing the past. I don't want to romanticize any of that. I want to be thankful for it and then I want to focus on future. Romanticizing is a good word because people romanticize the past all day.
That's depression.
Like my dad. He's like, remember, and he's older, whatever. But remember when we did this great vacation that I'm actually playing up in my head that wasn't that great because I'm romanticizing the past? It's like, not, like, yeah, it was great, cool. What are we doing? So, yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up on the past.
Sounds like a good memory for him, though.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. I want to create more, like my goal, take them to Greece. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's my goal.
That'll be a good trip. Well, can't end any better than that. If you guys want to get in contact or actually see all of Miranda's cool stuff on Where to Eat Charlotte, Instagram is probably the best, right?
Yep, until I hop on those other platforms. But yeah, yes. Instagram for sure.
Where to Eat Charlotte.
Yeah, it's growing quick.
Anything else people could find you at?
No, nope. Just Where to Eat.
I'll put all the other links in the description and all the other platforms so you can find them there. But thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
And we'll talk to you soon on the streets. And
no, I'm out. You'll see me. You'll see me. And I want to leave everyone with this one line because I feel like this is like my quote, which I don't know, it like hit me one day. I was like, I love this quote. Live a life true to yourself and not a life others expect of you. That's like really resonated with me. So if you're living a life true to yourself, like that's what it's about. So thanks for having me on. This was fun.
Boom, done.
Boom.
We are Starks Media. Everything creative, we can make it happen. We are Starks Media. This is your chance to make your customers happy. We are Starks Media. Starks Media. Facebook ads, webinars, always creative content, landing page videos. Which one's for you?